I don't want no Hibs. Hibs is a club that can't get no love from me. Scudded on a Sunday night like a pile of shite by the teddy bears so mighty. Hi folks, welcome to your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering and our good friends at Football Prizes, two companies who are probably about to receive a lot of angry emails from a lot of angry Hibs fans if the action on Elon Musk's X so far is anything to go by. I've had Rangers fans telling me I'm an absolute disgrace for subscribing to Viaplay, and I've had so many Hibs fans telling me that I should, be ashamed of our supporters and just be ashamed, just generally be ashamed, and I am for so many reasons. Before I even start getting into football stuff, but my name's Alec Anderson, hanging out the passenger side of my best friend's ride, trying to holler at you that Rangers have beaten Hibs by 2 goals to 0 in the Scottish Cup quarter-final in Leith tonight. An absolute nightmare for me in that the flagship show, I'm recording this just about 8:30, my phone takes a million years to upload, so I'll be really lucky to get this immediate post-match reaction pod uploaded to Gersnet before the flagship show starts at 9:30. If I do, for some reason, get it up, extra quickly, because we're on a good mood, and you get to watch it before the get on the flagship show at 9:30. It's going to be John, Grant, and David, and my God, have they got a lot to talk about. I'm jealous I'm not on that one. They've got a hell of a lot of football, not just the two games that were sandwiched between against Benfica. But this game tonight, the Scottish Cup quarter-final, Rangers winning 2-0 against a Hibs team that was eventually down to 9 men, deservedly so. Oh, me, I can't help myself just asking for trouble. But yes, Rangers winning 2-0 in Leith. I think the last time I was at Easter Road was the Scottish Cup. It wasn't the quarter-final, it was a round before, but it was late February. We played Hibs, we drew 0-0 at Easter Road in 2007-2008 season in the Scottish Cup. Went to replay at Ibrox, we won 1-0, and Chris Burke scored the goal. That was when Walter Smith went into the Hibs dugout and squared gold Mixu Patalainen, who at that point in time was probably the biggest guy in Scottish football, just to get the crowd going, because there's a bit of a library atmosphere. No such problems tonight, but that game, actually, the replay at Ibrox, I think was the 9th of March, so it's like 16 years and a day ago, basically, and we were at that point in time en route to 4 different trophies. We were still in contention for the domestic treble and the UEFA Cup, now known as the Europa League, and we did get to the final of the UEFA Cup, and we took the league title right down to the last day of the season. We won the League Cup and we won the Scottish Cup, so little parallels there. But this game itself, I think the best way to sum it up, I'm trying to do this quickly, and the quicker I try to do it, the more time it's going to take me, so bear with me, but I think the best way to sum up the on-field action, the way the game itself went physically on the pitch, is that the most important goal wasn't the winning goal, wasn't the second goal. The first goal, I think that was one that tipped the balance, made Hibs just kind of... It put them in the back foot, and then in trying to retrieve that, they went about it the wrong way and ended up getting players sent off, and that made a difference. So the really important thing tonight was to get the first goal, and that goal itself being bundled over the line after a missed penalty. A penalty had been saved, putting a rebound over the line. I think that kind of sums up the way the football went. It was never smooth, it was never silky, and it was all about who had the most focus, who had the most determination, who had the most kind of physical prowess, I think, who wanted it more, and it was us. James Tavernier scores that, but didn't score the penalty. He takes the penalty, and I remember at the time thinking, if he doesn't score this, and Tav has been scoring so many penalties, the law of averages plus my black superstition, I just think he's got, we're bound to miss a penalty at some point just when we need it. And it felt like the kind of night, if we did, it would give Hibs such a boost. Particularly when we're starting with the same 11 we started with in Lisbon the other night. I think maybe the players will suddenly start feeling tired and it's all going to go wrong, but our players don't think like that. They're not thinking things are weird because it's 5:30 on a Sunday night. They've not got their work tomorrow. That is their work. They're at their work and they're doing their job so well just now. John Lundstrom, it's times his little run from outside the box. He gives himself enough yardage outside the box so that he will be hitting the very edge of the box when James Tavernier hits the penalty. He will not be touching the line. He'll be touching the white line of the box, or the D, outside the box, until Tav has struck the penalty and he gets in there in front of all the Hibs players. He almost kind of cradles the ball in his instep as he jumps up, John Lundstrom, and just basically takes the ball within his body over the line He hits the net, I think, before the ball hits any netting, and it's the side net, and it hits and it drops down in a weird way. There's about 5 Hibs players going to the net with him, but out comes Lunny, arms in the air, kissing that scroll crest on his jersey, the big RFC. Rangers wearing the all blue tonight, European style. Absolutely fantastic. He was absolutely loving it. You get the impression he's probably had a bit of stick, but the determination was writ large across his face. John Lundstrom having a fantastic season, and coincidentally, the last time he had a fantastic season, we also reached a European final. So lots of good omens tonight. I think that summed it up, that little moment, and the way the most crucial goal of the game, like the winner wasn't the winner, so to speak, which is part of the kind of strange atmosphere of this game. It was a real down and dirty kind of contest, and I think what sums up the atmosphere around the game, really unfortunate stuff. There's an injury to Martin Boyle, the Hibs striker, who's given, remember he scored that hat-trick against us in the League Cup semi-final. Really happy we're not playing Hibs at Hampden. We get a honking record against Hibs at Hampden. A really kind of historically bad record against Hibs at Hampden. A histrionically bad record against Hibs at Hampden. So I'm always kind of worried when we get them in the Cups. I remember 2 years before that game I'm talking about, when Walter was back, was Alec McLeish was manager. They came to Ibrox and they beat us 3-0. I think they beat us 3-0 or 3-1 in the league that season as well at Ibrox. So it's always a worry when you're playing Hibs. It's always a worry when you get so much on your plate and we're losing so many players to injury, how these games are going to go. But Martin Boyle, he goes down a really kind of freak injury. It's the way he's kind of went into the air, he's come down. I don't know if it was off the ground or off another player, but he's not been able to stop himself, hitting the ground. He's been propelled towards the ground, and his head is taking a real bad one. It's one of those ones that even just watching the telly as an armchair fan, you get a fright, because you can see the players, it was the Rangers players and the referee as well as the Hibs players, are madly, frantically signalling in a panic to the medical staff, get on here now, this guy is seriously injured. And the Rangers medical staff come piling on as quickly as the Hibs medical staff to get on the part and attend to Martin Boyle. And just myself and everybody at Gersnet, banter aside, I hope you're all right. I hope he makes a full recovery. I've not heard anything. There's no talk about it for the rest of the game of it being a particularly bad injury or whatever. No doubt he's been examined, but I really hope he makes a full recovery and everything's okay with him, because we all get a fright, but no doubt him and his family will have felt it a lot worse than anybody else. Always a nasty one, that. So the Rangers medical staff are on there and they're barking the orders at each other to do everything they can to make sure Martin Boyle is okay. It's that one, obviously colours go out the window, and this is a footballer, a professional footballer, and we will do everything we can for him. It's just somebody who's been hurt in a dangerous way. So he was down there for, it was about 9-10 minutes. He was on the deck, Martin Boyle, really worrying stuff. The stretchers come on and that, and they get him off eventually. And I think the Hibs players it certainly spooked them. And that was the only point in the game. The 9 minutes, the 10 minutes of injury time at the end of the first half, I think, was the only time in the game that Rangers actually seemed completely in control until the later sendings off, which gives a 2-man advantage. And we couldn't do anything with it. So half time, that's it. It's still 1-0 to Rangers. Come out in the second half, and Hibs have obviously psyched themselves up. There's been a real talking to by the manager, and they've got themselves worked into a bit too much of a frenzy, I think. But it nearly they were piling into us. A lot of balls coming into our box. We dealt with them all very well. We weathered the storm well, but I think in the first 15 minutes of the second half we had one corner. We weren't getting forward at all, and I was definitely fearing the worst. And we'd had an injury in the first half, which was Dujon Sterling, who won the penalty for us, and thereafter had another shot on goal. Arguably our best player, or certainly alongside Lundstrom, our best player in the first half. He pulls up after maybe half an hour or 35 minutes. He has to go off. Ross McCausland comes on. It's a stage now where it used to be the thing I feared most in the Rangers game was, the sight of the ball hitting the back of our net. Now it's our players feeling the back of their hammy, because that's Cortez. And then tonight, Cortez at Kilmarnock, and then tonight, Dujon Sterling, and then Ross McCausland getting injured. McCausland comes on to replace Dujon Sterling. It's unbelievable. I've been saying the whole thing earlier in the season about how the person who partners John Lundstrom in the sitting two in midfield is becoming like the drummer of Spinal Tap, just constantly, next person, you're done. Next person, you're done. And even Ryan Jack, apparently after his really brief cameo in Lisbon the other night, he couldn't make the squad today. That'd be enough to injure him. But it's mostly now the wings. The wingers are getting it, the wide players and and the attacking three were going through them like nothing else on earth. And this summed it up tonight, where we've got Dujon Sterling going off, and the guy who comes on to replace him, Ross McCausland, what is it, 60, maybe just after the hour mark in the second half, he's got to go off. He gets up holding the hammy, and at that point, Jordan Obita, the fellow who brought Sterling down for the penalty, and copped a booking earlier in the game, he goes up and he starts pushing. He puts his hand on our medical staff and Ross McCausland, who's injured, and pushes them off the park. We've just... You're not looking for any credit for just trying to help somebody who's been prone, as we were with Martin Boyle in the first half. You're not looking for any credit for that. It's just something you do. But at moments like that, you've got to realise, no, you will at least have the respect to let our player get off the park, but it's been painted as evil Rangers trying to waste time, get their players off the park. You put that together with what happened with Todd Cantwell when we played Hibs at Easter Road a couple of months ago in the league, and he's this, escorting a ball out for a shy at the Hibs, towards the Hibs technical area, and two Hibs players come in and basically throw him into the Hibs technical area, where he propels their manager up into the air because he's thrown in there with such force. You put that together with Ryan Porteous on Viaplay tonight, a guy I think is actually going to end up at Rangers, and hopefully he'll get the old Duncan Ferguson treatment, where he'll get some maturity beaten into him by the players in the dressing room. But a guy who's lauded for trying to break people's legs, basically. Take up UFC, you know what I mean? It's football. There's nothing laudable about using the fact that guy's concentrating on the ball to snap his leg. It's disgusting. He's had portraits done of him standing over Alfredo Morelos, who 99 times out of 100 obviously would come out in the winning side against Hibs and scored plenty of goals against them. This, buckfast bottles. Or was it El Dorado? I don't know. Getting thrown at Borna Barisic and James Tavernier getting attacked by a Hibs player on the park at Easter Road. Add this to what happened in the 2016 Scottish Cup final, where our players, again, just try to go about their job, are getting attacked on the pitch. I know, a lot of people, Rangers fans were heard when Martin Boyle was getting treated tonight. Was sections of the Rangers support were heard singing the old "To Die a Fenian Bastard" song. It's fucking disgusting. I think that's absolutely appalling. But this is the atmosphere that's been created between the supporters, with different things happening over the years. But that tonight, where the players can't even reciprocate the professionalism and the consideration that's been shown to them by the opposition players and medical staff, I found that just kind of toxic, very, very sad. I thought Abita should have got a second booking for that, but of course that would have been really controversial. So he ends up getting a controversial second booking anyway. I think just a few moments later, he get booked for, I don't know, I can't even remember what it was. I don't think it was debatable whether it was a second yellow or not, but I feel as if he deserved it anyway. So off he went, and then Hibs just kind of lost the plot a wee bit. We're basically trying to break legs. Mariah Welsh, he goes steaming in, just went in there with he jumped off the ground, studs showing, didn't make contact. I think Michael Stewart, who was very much the star of the show, if you're watching it on Viaplay tonight, quite incredible performance by him. I think he was actually commentating and co-commentating. Rory Hamilton got about 10 words in total through the entire game tonight, and the commentary team for Viaplay. Michael Stewart just completely out of control tonight on that one. But he was trying to say it hasn't made contact. Or VAR will probably, will probably give that. Just this kind of, I don't know, just trying to paint everything as a conspiracy. But it was really noxious to listen to. I don't have to listen to it. I know I could watch it on Rangers TV. There's Rangers fans telling me not to, have some principles. Don't watch Viaplay. What about Emma Dodds though? She's great. So anyway, it was a red card, a deserved red card. So that was just kind of almost instantly down to 9 men, and Rangers just then played out time. Took more control of the game, and eventually Lundstrom, who was the man of the match, plays a ball through the inside left channel. Silva checks inside, does his man, and slots it in. Silva did another really good game tonight, playing that left-hand side slot. Fantastic the night against Benfica back in his homeland, and gets a goal tonight, deservedly so. A lovely wee finish. That was about 83 minutes. He goes and sits in the advertising hoardings and just really enjoys himself. Easter Road empties. That's their season over. But it was a really cool, really focused, and at times quite a brave performance by Rangers, because they were up against Hibs. Hibs don't know what they're all about. They really don't know how to cope with stuff just now. And I think their manager talking before the game about all the decisions that have gone against them and then doing so afterwards, it's just getting to the stage. It's something that I'm really finding quite disturbing these days, the confirmation bias thing. You're sitting in the house and I'm like, oh, it's a lovely sunny day. I think I'll go out for a walk. And you get halfway down the road and the rain comes on. And you're like, this always happens. It doesn't always happen. Obviously it doesn't always happen. It's just, it's confirmation bias in the negative sense. People are just starting to put this forward as some sort of actual mitigation for teams performing badly. So, and I think they've whipped themselves into a dangerous kind of frenzy at half time tonight, Hibs. They come out with a lot more focus in the second half, and it nearly did a lot more of the ball. So they had us pinned in for the first quarter of an hour of the second half. That was their best period of the game. But even then, the chap up front, is he Danish? He's got the kind of the Todd Cantwell hair, but it's up in a bun and all that. And he's hitting the deck and pretending that he's injured when one of his teammates just before half time is genuinely injured. Do you get the point of the whole crying wolf thing? You shouldn't be doing that. He gets back up and doesn't get the free kick, and away he goes. And that there was some. But this is my confirmation bias. I'm seeing Hibs as totally evil. No Rangers player did anything wrong tonight whatsoever. Of course we did. We'd wee dives here and there as well. My God, Silva's Portuguese. It's in his bones to dive. So but it wasn't a nice atmosphere. It wasn't a nice game at all. And I think Hibs, it wasn't. I think they've just got themselves so worked up that they could actually end up doing somebody a serious injury. I mean, it's already one of their players has suffered a serious injury. You'd think that would kind of sort them out. But I was actually quite scared the last 20 minutes or so that we're going to pick up some more injuries. But Hibs eventually kind of calmed themselves down and just concentrated on keeping it just at 2-0. It's something else, folks. It's absolutely something else. I don't know what you did. Like, no football. Well, there's plenty of football, but no for Rangers. So the nerves are fine. You're trying to find something to do on a Saturday. I don't know, you do that thing on a Saturday night. I mean, there's a million things on television. I've got all the channels, Netflix, Prime, all that. Sky Movies, or Sky Cinema, whatever it is. And there's hundreds of stuff to watch. That I would quite happily sit and watch. And there's hundreds of stuff my wife would quite happily sit and watch. If we were just ourselves. But on a Saturday night, and you're not going out, and it's that kind of, saving up for the holidays, and let's try and let's find something we can sit and watch together. And I did that. Was it Operation Mincemeat, all about the Second World War? And it's something, an actual true story, about the dead body that they floated through so the Germans would get misinformation. And Colin Firth, he's all right. And we'll watch that, and you give it 10 minutes, and it's just no working. And then you give it 20 minutes to make sure that, because you can't be bothered with the whole remote control thing. It's getting to be the most passive-aggressive thing you can do in a relationship, is just say, there you go, you pick something for us both to watch. Hand over the remote control of pressure. Watch that, and it's Saturday. It's something that is kind of light, but it was just really silly the way they were presenting this story. You then get, what was it? No Hard Feelings. Oh my God, Jennifer Lawrence. It's a single entendre. It's supposed to be a kind of like gross out movie, but Jennifer Lawrence is in it, and you've got the guy. Is it Matthew Broderick? Ferris Bueller. And it's like she's like 30-year-old, but pretending she's 22. And you're thinking, well, that'll be funny. It's light-hearted. You want that a wee warm-up thing early on this Saturday night, then maybe watch something a bit more intense later on. And she's just getting. It's more and more excuses for her to get naked, And it's been International Women's Day the day before, and it's Mother's Day the day. Like this isn't it? You give it 10 minutes, and then make 20 minutes because you don't want to bother looking up anything else. And it's just no realistic. It's no funny. It's no. So you get bin that, and then what was it? Oh, something about get really desperate. The Haunting of the Queen Mary, all about ghosts. There's a kind of The Shining, and the Titanic kind of vibe, but it was like a total TV movie. It was all English, British folk putting on American accents, and I gave it 10 minutes and then about 20 minutes so because you couldn't be bored watching the else. And eventually have to watch some German art house thing, A Fire, Roten Himmel, a film set in an island, not an island, a seaside town up in the Baltic coast up in Germany during the summer. And basically the plot is it's an artist who needs to kind of have a word with yourself and grow up a bit and stop using his art. He's a failed author, but he needs to stop using the fact that he's a writer as a way to hide himself with people, to insulate himself with people. He needs to get out there and meet people, because they're just going to keep coming to his life like the water that's getting in through the leaky roof in his pal's mum's holiday home, and then the fire, of course, that's the forest fires are pushing him closer and closer to the sea. Where he needs to cry and he needs to let the flow of people into his life. It's just a big metaphor, but it's just basically the basic thing was it's a guy who needs to grow up a bit, and that's what you end up watching because it's realistic. At least it can be done well. It's quite well acted, But with the Fitba, with Rangers, this is preposterous. It's much more entertaining. We're doing the same thing again. It's the same mise en scène again and again. Hibs, this is the third time we've played them this season. It's the second time we've played them at Easter Road this year, and it's only March. Why is this better than watching movies where it's all different scenarios, different plot? And this is a totally unrealistic plot because all the actors are crocked. The actors on the end, the thing. We're losing Cortez. We're losing Todd Cantwell. Seema's gone. Danilo's gone. They're maybe never going to see them again. What's happening? And we actually get Dujon Sterling is great tonight in the first half. The 1-2 he works with James Tavernier to get himself into the box and get clipped. And Michael Stewart, fair enough, he says what led to that was Mohamed Diamondi, who was great again. He was in about it again, not tidy. Nobody that played for Rangers tonight was tidy. Connor Goldson, some terrible distribution in the first half, some shaky moments. Jack Butland, I sat and watched that Arsenal game last night, and I had a right laugh out loud about the fact that, what's his name, the Arsenal goalkeeper, I can't remember the guy's name, he makes a complete arse of things and just gives Brentford a goal, basically, passes the ball straight to a Brentford player, basically lets the guy get on top of him, put it in. Aaron Ramsdale. I'm like, oh, that's him, below Butland in the pecking order for an England cap now. And Rory Hamilton is just talking about that tonight, that Jack Butland's in line for an England cap. We'll find out if he's going to get recalled again by Gareth Southgate when he announces his squad. And then he just basically does exactly the same thing, except the Hibs player, because he's crapper than the Brentford player, hits it off the post and it goes by. Even Jack Butland was having a dodgy moment, but Mohamed Diamondi, he gets on top of Boyle, who's tried to intercept a Rangers pass, and there's no foul. And Michael Stewart, fair play to him, he says, no, that's no foul, I don't think that is a foul. And we play it. Lawrence is involved. It gets back to Lundstrom. He gets it out to Dujon Sterling, who's practically in the halfway line, and he works this beautiful 1-2, this extended 1-2 with Tav, who holds it and then just plays it lovely vertical ball inside for Sterling to run onto, and he gets clipped by Jordan Obita. And that's just no way. That's a penalty, says Michael Stewart, who was doing the commentary. I mean, they just kept talking. He wouldn't shut up the entire game, basically cheering Hibs on and saying everything that Rangers did, but he did stick up for us at times. But there's no contact there. Okay, you're seeing the replays, and people will say that's contact, no, because he's contacted him. Dujon Sterling is going full pelt into the box, and the guy runs across his stride, so that Dujon Sterling, his ankle is tripped by the guy's low dangling fruit. And he clips the back from him. You know what it's like when you see a thing at proper speed. But Michael Stewart's like, well, people will say that, but it's contact. There's got to be contact in sport, And he's also, Rory Hamilton was saying the thing about Jack Butland is probably going to get, recalled to the England squad. And Stewart comes in afterwards because Butland then proceeds to make the mistake, which nearly cost us a goal. The first kind of howler he's had in nets for Rangers. Oh, I thought you said he was maybe going to get recalled by England. Well, he is maybe going to get recalled by England. That has been the talk of the town. That's what everybody's thinking. He's in line for an England recall. It's not like that wasn't the case. But it's like, you mentioned that and then he made an arse of himself. Can he stand that kind of piss? And it always comes from the kind of person like Stewart who, the minute anybody questions him, remember Alan Hutton during the League Cup final, absolutely wets himself with indignation. You can't dish it out like that. You need to be able to take it. It's like neurosis, and I don't want to listen to somebody else's neurosis while I'm watching the fit. But anyway, penalty to Rangers. And Dujon Sterling slips the ball in there. And he gets tripped up, and that's it. And he has another shot after we score from the resultant penalty. He has another shot on goal, and he's probably our best player up until that point in time. But then he goes off. And then Ross McCausland goes off. Cortez, we've lost him as well. All these players that we have, these guys, we keep bringing them in to plug up these positions. They keep getting injured, and yet we're in 4 competitions. All week. You've been the same, probably. I don't know. It's stupid. You shouldn't be planning what competition do we want to win. What kind we don't. The manager himself said it's not like a menu you can pick and choose. You've got to try all the time. And his little, 90 seconds about the Hibs game in Lisbon in his post-match presser in Lisbon the other night. My God, he scared me. He's like, no, 200%. We are giving it absolutely everything on Sunday, and he puts out the exact same starting 11 tonight as he did in Lisbon. That total show of intent, and it doesn't make sense. Unlike Hollywood, they're trying to, plots have got to work. There's got to be various devices that are believable. It's preposterous, and it's so much more entertaining because Rangers are doing what they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be getting this far. So I want us just to acknowledge, because the manager immediately started talking about next season. I think we're all really looking forward to next season. None of us are willing to believe that Rangers are going to win, certainly not 4 of these trophies. The treble is maybe on, perhaps is on, but I don't know. I think we would all rather just concentrate on the league. I think we should always try for Europe, but I'm getting more and more. I'm wavering in that because I can't believe that we will be able to go all the way in Europe and also win the league. We should concentrate on what's more realistic, but the manager is just wanting everything. What he said really interestingly tonight when Paul Mitchell, TNT, interviewed him after the game, and I had to write this down. He was talking to him about the amount of injuries, and that's the kind of main takeaway from this game tonight. And Philip Clement said, I've been very creative in the last couple of weeks and months. Now I need to be very, very creative. I've kind of reversed that quote to make it more interesting. But he said, now I have to be very, very creative. We need to look for other solutions. He's constantly saying this thing about we need to concentrate on the players who are fit, but it's getting harder and harder as fewer and fewer of them are fit. Maybe that's all the boys, the players, missed a lot of things in the preparation towards this season. I think that's really clear for everybody. It's just all but naming Michael Beale and saying he has made a major rick in the preparation. I saw it, those pre-season friendlies. A few folk gave me a bit of abuse for being negative about our performance in pre-season friendlies. They're only friendlies, Alec, against Olympiakos and against Hamburg. And I was like, I know they're only friendlies, and hopefully this is just part, but we're so exhausted from the intense pre-season that we've had that this is just us getting back into the wave, and it's actually, maybe it's going to be a good thing. It shows that the players are so exhausted. It was such an intense pre-season, but it's not. They just weren't properly trained during the summer at all. And we've got a manager who's come in October and is trying to get them up to the speed that he wants, because he wants to win everything, including the Europa League. He's no messing about. He'll say things before games against Benfica in case Benfica are listening about when to be realistic, or this could be the end of the road for us kind of stuff, knowing that he's going out there fully intending to take away Benfica's unbeaten home record in the Europa League. Benfica's. And he's raging when he doesn't quite manage it. So he's going for everything. So he wants players at that level, and he's trying to get them at that level when he has no time to train them. He's had the Christmas break, the winter break, and the way the levels he's taking us to, the increase in performance and kind of, basically just won every game up until that Motherwell match last week. Won every single game they played until 2024, until Motherwell at home last Saturday. But he's obviously putting really professional kind of European standards into them when they've had no pre-season, and that is resulting in constant injuries because he's getting these players to give him everything, and inevitably, if they've not been properly physically prepared by the previous manager, we're going to get the injuries we're getting. So that's why I cannot believe we're even going to win a domestic treble, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm sorry that you'll now be watching this after the flagship show. There's no way I'm getting this uploaded before the flagship show starts. So I hope that was good. I hope you enjoyed it. The manager went on to say, so we need to make a big preparation next year that we don't come into a situation like this anymore. I think that's about as clear as you can make it. I was, before this game, thinking, we can't win a treble. We need to be realistic. Maybe this is the day we go out of a competition. Maybe it's the best thing for us. What is the Scottish Cup, though? The Scottish Cup would be 2 more games. It's a semi-final. Now, if we go through on Thursday night, and that's by no means a given, I think Benfica are still massive favourites to go through in the tie, we could have a European quarter-final, and that would, the Scottish Cup semi-final will be at that point in time as well, but it is one game. It is one game, and the Scottish Cup final will come at the very end of the season. So it's not as if it's interfering with your league campaign that much. I mean, especially if we get beat by Benfica, as I say, which is still really, really likely. So you would then want a treble would be more realistic. but I still feel as if it's pretty unrealistic. What is it actually? Why am I saying that? Well, if you go through the trebles at Rangers, yes, we're going to go through them. Just you sit there. No, don't be pressing that button. You will sit there and you will listen, and then you'll take 5 minutes. You'll go and brush your teeth, and I mean, get the toothpaste on the toothbrush. No, just list, putting water on the brush on it. Get it done properly, and you're going to watch. You're going to watch the flagship show, and then you're going to get to your bed at 10:30. I don't care if all your Celtic pals are getting to stay up past midnight. They've got nothing to do this week. Don't tell their mother I said that, but they've got nothing to do this week. We know the situation there. You've got a European game on Thursday night, so just come on. You're going to this, you're going to get to your bed. But so what we're looking at, 1949, the first time we won the treble. 48-49 season. Well, basically, there'd only been 3 trophies for about 2 seasons at that point, with the League Cup emerging from a Second World War tournament. And we'd won it the very first season. It was out in 1947, won the League Cup, and I think we won the Scottish Cup one season. Then we basically won the 3 main titles, the 3 domestic titles, one of them in each of the preceding seasons. So it was nothing else to do. Bill Struth had been in the job since the First World War, basically. He'd been at Ibrox since the First World War, been Rangers manager since 1920, so he's relatively experienced. And Rangers were absolutely colossal, so much better than everybody else in Scotland, except Hibs at that point. Hibs were giving us big problems at that point in time. They were winning their fair share of trophies in Scotland, but well, they won the league. And it was Bill Struth's Rangers. They were always going to do something major, so that was absolutely fine. We're really positioned. It's the opposite of what we are now in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the manager. 63-64, Scott Simon had been there for a decade. He'd already taken us to a European final. He was going to take us to another one in a couple of years' time, 3 years' time after that. He'd won all the major trophies, and I think he had won, in 4 of the previous 5 seasons, he'd won 2, the variations of the doubles within the treble, if you like. He'd won the league and the League Cup, the league and the Scottish Cup, the League Cup and the Scottish Cup in previous seasons. So it was all, the preparation was all there. We're building up towards that. Jock Wallace's 2 trebles in quick succession. Well, he won the first of those trebles in 1976, 75, 76 season. He'd been at Rangers since, Willie Waddell brought him in 71, 72. He's part of the management team for the Cup Winners' Cup. Following season, he's Rangers manager in his own right. He wins the Scottish Cup at the end of the 72, 73 season. Wins the league in, 1975. So it's all there. It's all been building up towards this at this point in time. Rangers go eventually. They've got they're dominating Celtic in various tournaments. They're dominating them in the league, and then just go the extra step. Take a year off in 76, 77, which is the first year I go to see Rangers, of course. First season I go to see Rangers in between 2 trebles. We win nothing. 77, 78, they're ready to go again. You still get all the players in there. We win another treble. It's Jock Wallace again. You get players who've already won a treble. You get John Gregg, who won the treble 63, 64. He's part of that team. Guys that have played, for Scotland and all that. And I've won a European trophy with Rangers. It's really, it's all laid out there. 92, 93, Walter Smith's only been manager in his own right for 2 years, but he's worked under Jim McLean and Graham Souness, European finals and that kind of thing with Jim McLean, or European Cup semi-final with Jim McLean, and of course Souness, the money that came with him and the experience. He knows Rangers, they're in the way of winning, what we won, 4 or 5 in a row at that season with the league title, winning Scottish Cups, winning League Cup, won the double the previous season, so that was almost inevitable. 98, 99, Dick Advocat comes in. We took a season off the previous season, almost taking mark the transition. But we finished, we took the league to the last day of the season. We lost the Scottish Cup by 1 goal, the Scottish Cup final by 1 goal to Hearts. The following season, Advocat, whole lot of new players, more money, just bang, there you go. The Dutchman has landed. It's a treble. It was absolutely fantastic. We were by far the most powerful team in Scotland, one of the most powerful teams in Britain at that point in time, so it was totally inevitable. And Alec McLeish, 2002, 2003, that not so inevitable. But he's come in, and Advocat has affected the smooth transition. And Alec McLeish comes in and he wins the 2 cups, the 2 cup competitions. The previous season, 2001, 2002, he's come in halfway through the season in December, I think it was, and the league was gone by that point in time. But he's really made his mark on Celtic. I think he drew both league games and beat them in both cup competitions. So that was the marker was laid down and smoothed the way towards the following season. You've got guys, Arthur Newman and all that are there. They've won the treble under Advocat. Neil McCann, players like that, vastly experienced. They'd won all the trophies. So, and some of them had already won a treble. So it was kind of, not in any way unrealistic. This, Philip Clement, for him to win the treble when he's come in October, the state Rangers were in when he came in. What did we win? Scottish Cup 2 seasons ago. That's it. Won the league 3 seasons ago, but he's come in, he's won the League Cup. And the idea that he's going to win the treble, it's looking more and more likely that he could. I just feel as if something's got to give. It feels unrealistic that we're going to win all 3 of them. But it's now getting to the point where it's too late to go back. We're in the Scottish Cup semi-final. I still fancy Hearts. I think I had a funny feeling for whoever won the Kilmarnock Aberdeen game, but then Neil Warnock, he walked. I thought because Warnock would just like to think if he embarrassed Scottish football by getting his first major trophy in Scottish football. But no, he's away. So I feel as if Hearts have just got something about them. Shankland's got something about him, something magical, something iconic about him this season. So I don't know, who do you want in the semi-finals? And I think really we should take the team who we beat in the 1981 Scottish Cup semi-final, because we won the Scottish Cup in 1981, or we should maybe take the team who we played in front of. We played in the final. The final was replayed, and between the 2 games, the collective crowd was 265,000. 265,000. It was Morton. We played Morton in the 1940, was that 48, 47 or 48? We played them in the final. I think the semi-final we beat Hibs in front of like 145,000. I think that the only other time since then, 76 years ago or whatever it is, 74 years ago, the only other time we've beaten Hibs at Hampden since then. I was at the game where Ali McCoy scored the overhead kick winner. I was behind the goal when he scored the overhead kick winner against Hibs in the League Cup final, but it was at Parkhead. That game was played at Parkhead. The only other time we've beaten Hibs at Hampden since then was the 1979 Scottish Cup final, and that took 2 replays. So I'm so glad we got Hibs tonight at this stage, rather than having to play them in the semi-final. So why have you got a Fortuna Dusseldorf pennant behind you, Alec? Well, it's because you can see that Fortuna Dusseldorf, 79 and 80, they won the German Cup. But Alec, they were runners. We beat them. We beat Fortuna Dusseldorf, and we won the 79 Scottish Cup. We lost the league in spectacular fashion to Celtic. But we went into the Cup Winners' Cup the following season, and we played Fortuna Dusseldorf, and we put them out. The Fortuna Dusseldorf side, who had reached the previous seasons, we were in the Scottish Cup final. Fortuna Dusseldorf on the Cup Winners' Cup final, and they're losing to Barcelona 4-3, an epic, the first Cup Winners' Cup final I ever remember watching. And that game was in Basel in Switzerland, and Barcelona, of course, we'd won the Cup Winners' Cup in their stadium just 7 years earlier. I mean, you think Hibs won the Scottish Cup against us 8 years earlier than tonight. Still, it shows you how recent that was. So we beat that Fortuna Dusseldorf. But Alec, I thought you said they won the German Cup in 79 and 80. How come? They were runners-up in the German Cup final in 1978 against Cologne, who we lost in the European Cup quarter-final. It was a pennant I had up the other night. We lost the Cologne European Cup quarter-final the previous season, and when we beat Fortuna Dusseldorf the following season in the Cup Winners' Cup, next round we played Valencia, and Mario Kempes did us at Ibrox after we got a draw in the away leg in Valencia in the Iberian Peninsula, and Mario Kempes had scored a couple of goals the previous year while winning the World Cup final for Argentina. We're playing Angel Di Maria, will be playing for Benfica on Thursday night, who 15 months ago won the World Cup final with Argentina, and he scored in that final. I'm getting a bit of whitey thinking all this stuff. I find it a lot more interesting than you guys probably do. But the main thing is, get yourself onto the flagship show, which has started. It's already started at the time I'm recording this. So the post-match reaction pod is going to go up, surprise, surprise, after the flagship show. But it's been that kind of night. The main thing is, a lot of rancour, a lot of bitterness. We're all needing to calm down a wee bit. I've said a few things on Twitter that I'm going to have to go and mute the responses to now. But don't mute yourself when it comes to cheering on Rangers and patting them on the back and just enjoying the fact. It's that point in heat. We're at that point in heat where we haven't actually, Michael hasn't turned round. Michael Chirito, played by Thomas Sizemore, hasn't turned around and said the fatal thing to Robert De Niro's Neil McCauley. He hasn't said, "We've done it, Neil. We did it." Neil isn't in the car yet. Neil's still coming out with the bag in his back, and Val Kilmer's just starting to come out. But it's the bit where Michael gets in the car and he slaps Breeden the temporary stand-in getaway driver. He slaps him in the back, just like, yay! It feels good. Let's just savour that moment before the cops come round the corner and start shooting at us and start putting bullets through our head because we merely tried to pick up a child to act as a human shield. Let's just enjoy the fact that this manager has come in October and getting into the double figures in March. He still has us on course for a domestic treble and perhaps a glorious quadruple. Enjoy your night, folks.